What'd you learn yesterday from the scrimmage?
Yep, decent amount. I think we've been about 90 plays. A lot of guys getting turns. A few guys stood out, and you can see how they've come along. Zach Card making a couple big plays in the deal. Jimmy Volson came up with a couple of balls. That was nice to see on his side. I thought Nico was around the quarterback. Olu played with great effort, showed up a few times. It's nice to see Alton Julian. Alton got out there for, I think it was probably around 15, 20 snaps, moved around, and so going back to this building depth and all of that. Kicking game was solid. Josh Green hit a couple of good ones at the punt. Atticus was 100%. Everett did not kick. He's dealing with a little bit of tight groin, so he did not. Atticus was great. The procedure, again, you try to make it as game-like as possible, and so we still got to tighten up some procedure on both sides. Communication a couple of times was not where we needed it, and that's why those things are good to do, the scrimmages.
So is Alton cleared now?
Yeah, I mean, he's been going. He's cleared if we're playing live tackle and all that. And now, again, he didn't get 50 snaps, but he's progressing.
Speaking of live tackling, do you feel like you've done enough during camp to get what you... Well, I mean, enough to where you...
It's a fine balance. Yeah, we've done some live tackling more than just the two scrimmages, and it'll probably be the last time we live tackle was on yesterday. But each year you're always wondering if you did enough, and you're not trying to err on doing too much. And so we still got 2 weeks left, and that's another thing off the scrimmage we learned is that we need to take advantage of the next 2 weeks.
This week's schedule, you got 2 more days of practice, and then the 2 days. What do you do those 2 days?
Yep, we'd like a transition from kind of training camp to game prep, and so we give them those 2 days to kind of transition. We'll get with these guys on Thursday individually with their coach and just kind of see where they're at, where their current role, where we see it, and moving forward, what they got to emphasize to continue to grow. So we'll spend Thursday doing that. Friday will be heavy San Jose State prep. And then Saturday practice moving forward will be all San Jose.
Has there been any separation at quarterback?
There's been a lot of work done, and so it's becoming more and more clear. Again, we'll be able to sit down with those guys on Thursday and tighten it up.
That doesn't sound clear.
Katan's got a lot of run with some of the younger guys in the secondary on the second team. What have you tried to see from what Katan brings when he's out there playing with those guys?
Well, communication, leadership. Sometimes it's nice to be, as a group in the secondary, playing with a guy that's had a lot of snaps. We do the same thing at O-line. We'll get a couple of younger guys with an older guy so they can feel the tempo, the communication.
Will Gould and Gray both be ready for the opener?
Yep. Currently, we haven't had anyone not go down, and that we don't anticipate having.
Where do things stand on like the second inside linebacker? It looks like
Yeah.
Easton's probably one of them.
Yeah, and those guys have gotten all turns. Even in the scrimmage, Calvin did some decent stuff. John Miller, Micaiah Tung, all those guys are kind of rotating through, and currently, they're all three kind of playing.
Same thing at cornerback, the second cornerback spot, is it?
Similar, yep. Ivy's done solid stuff, and with Noble Thomas getting some play over there, even Coop going back and playing a little corner and rotating a few guys at nickel. So it's still, not a work in progress. We just got some different options.
You've watched this defense now for 3 weeks. How close do you feel like it could be to the effectiveness of last year?
Right. Last year we were playing at a pretty high level toward the end of the season. That back half of that season played pretty high level, and so they got some work to do. Each year's new. It's going to be a little bit different, and with the experience, and again, we talked a little bit, lost some guys in the secondary, so we're going to be a little bit less experienced in the secondary, but I think at the line of scrimmage might be a little bit different. So each year's new. That's a pretty high standard that they did last year.
How far has Micaiah come from the first day of spring when he's out there at linebacker to now?
Yeah, quite a ways. I mean, there's a lot to handle. He's a smart football player because, playing all that offense, I think that has helped him on that side. But there's still a bunch that he had to learn. He's dove into it in the spring. He's moving around. I think he's playing confident right now.
Do you have a set strategy with true freshmen on redshirting versus non, and with the 4 games that you can work with, or is it individual?
Each individual's circumstance is different. If the consideration to play and not redshirt, that's a two-way street, a conversation, kind of how we see it. Making sure we're not just throwing them out there for 1 or 2 plays, like they get a decent amount of time, and making sure on their end that's what they vision like, and that's why I think these Thursday conversations are important.